Yamo bibia kwaba na yemfambra Mega TV and platform we eso. In fact, Felix Ofosu Kwaakye government communications minister na okasa edema aban no. Waba monti so operation recover all loot hun sensemi. Ene waba edi full details abetudwa. Waba chire die ntia things are delaying, and in fact the omunima yeyenim the ekoso behind the scenes are public, we don't know. In fact wa church nemamu, and I will say said your can no sa pepepe na sa de tie dia, then I think say enka beboa what you say na eno no na Dr. Bomia ni deputy aid Kofi Tonto enso accuse say omo kan say omo prosecute nkrofo. They haven't done it, so they have not been, I mean they have not been fair to Ghanaians a whole lot of issues. And a Kofi Felix Ofosu Kwaakye ka say no. Sa asem na omo kan yentro. They didn't say so omo ba omo prosecute people within 1 year and as a specific date be na momo so omo ba they will make sure anybody who steal, and I say anybody who has stolen government fund, and I say what for major party no, that person will be prosecuted, and if possible it will be refunded. What you see na yenko tie ense no munchire mu bra omukopie ewo Alfredo Kansi ni show no so key points na lawyer Martin Pebu enso ewo honom bi okire na adwen. Lawyer Andy Apia could be former Asante Achem dot emrashi bidweni ohun so na owo honom ebi abusia meso so do waso ebe femme na wati ensemi akosi na ebe bo papa yinti ekobebeto so.
If you were ever to go into it and we're going to do recovery, you were only going to get a part of it. Is it realistic today that you will get $2 billion from Judiciary or Mr. SSC? So we need to cut out the propaganda and focus on facts. Alfred, what had happened was this. There were unprecedented levels of corruption. In fact, you in the media every day fed us with corruption scandals to a point where people even became fed up. So there was a need to do something about this sort of corruption and rot. So the NDC, as an alternative to the government that was supervising the rot, said that if we ever got opportunity to run the country again, we were going to implement Operation Recover All Loot, which could only have meant that we will use the legal process to hold those responsible accountable. And then once we have succeeded in holding them accountable, recover what it is that they are alleged to have stolen. That is what it was about. In opposition, there was nothing we could do until we got power. So President Mahama wins elections, and then on 18 December, that is in the period that he was waiting to formally be sworn in as president, he sets up the Oral Committee to gather as much information as they can get. The Oral Committee itself didn't have any power or locus to prosecute anybody. Yes. And that was never what was said about their work. Indeed, I issued a statement. My exact words were that they were a preparatory committee. So we put together people we believed had capacity to help with it. When they started their work, he will tell you, they got over 2,000 allegations against people. They sifted through and saw that around 280 of them had some basis.
Out of the 2,000.
Out of the 2,000. Because it's not everything that people come to tell you that you run, because you would run yourself around, because really there will be no substance to it. So they brought 280 cases in a report. That report you cannot take to court to secure any conviction. You needed to get accredited state agencies close with the power and capacity to do investigations, and then put together dockets to give to the Attorney General, who would review and satisfy himself that indeed there is basis to prosecute, and then he will proceed. So the claim that Oral is dead is blatantly false. It is NPP propaganda intended to discredit an exercise that will expose wrongdoing under them. That is all. Regrettably, there are elements in the NDC too who have taken the bait.
No, but are you saying that there's really no basis for even persons within the NDC?
Yeah, but so I'm going to demonstrate to you that there's no basis for it. Listen, I'm going to demonstrate to you. I'm going to demonstrate to you. Listen, no, I'm going to demonstrate to you that there's no basis. I understand the desire to have speedy prosecutions because of the extent of the rot. Indeed, if you are an NPP person and you are citing an NDC person's expression of frustration as reason why you are happy, you are actually indicting yourself. You are saying that people are impatient for you to be gold for corruption. That's what that you are saying. And it is not a flattering position to be. You are admitting that you were corrupt, except that nothing has been done to you yet. But the point I wish to make is that what could oral do? It was always going to be premised on the rule of law. And I was here 2 weeks ago and I told you that nowhere in the oral promise did we ever promise to use extrajudicial means. We can only use the judicial process.
Domelo, reference the certain pace at which
of course, so I'm coming to explain that
oral should have
I'm coming to explain it. You can only work with what you have. We for decades we have all lamented the slow pace of cases in court. It is a decades old,
and the tool in the game is evident.
Absolutely, and the decades old is a decades old criticism leveled at the judiciary of Ghana. It's nothing new. So that criticism itself is not an indictment on oral. But you see, the government of Ghana cannot come and tinker with the judiciary for the sole purpose of achieving a political end. The most we can do is to use the law to see if we can carry out some reforms to make the process a bit more satisfactory than before. So indeed, I have sat in cabinet. A bill to reintroduce the tribunals has been approved by cabinet. It should be in parliament by now. Once it is approved, the tribunals will be brought back.
And that will ensure some
to, among other things, deal with some of these matters and matters involving galamsey and other offenses so that we can speed up a bit. But a slow judicial process is not the same as inefficiency on the part of government in implementing oral. So what has happened since oral came? The oral cases were spread amongst 3 agencies: the police CID, the NIB, and the Yoko.
Before you go on to that, but how do you answer the question? You knew about this slow judicial process, but yet made promises that were hinged on a certain pace at which
no, but who spoke about pace? First of all, who said, for instance, that we will jail everybody under 1 year? Who said that? If you can give me that, we will move on. So what is the basis for saying that if after 1 year, everybody...
You have the power to jail people.
No, it's just my word of expression. What I'm saying is that, so if after 1 year, as we have now, everybody has not been put in jail, how do you say that oral has failed? Did we ever say that in 1 year we jail everybody? Did we ever say that we jail everybody in 1 week or even in 10 years?
No,
you understand me? If you let me land, you understand the point I'm making. So it's important to dismiss propaganda and separate it from facts. So what have the agencies been up to? NIB, for instance, they have looked into 27 cases. They have produced dockets. In other words, they have invited people, questioned them, cautioned them, and built a docket and presented same to the Attorney General for action. Iyoko, they have over 40 such cases. In the case of NIB, over 43 people have been affected, including Kwekwaji Mamenu, who only this week was all over the place claiming that nobody had touched him.
What happened to him?
Meanwhile, he had been brought in, he had been questioned, he had been cautioned.
When did this happen?
Last year.
Caution on what exactly?
When you are cautioned, it simply means that they take your statement, indicating that you have been brought under a certain
question and caution.
On two cases. The Sputnik V vaccine case and then the Frontier case involving COVID-19 testing at the airport. That has happened. Of course, it is not in all cases that it is highlighted. There are instances where political party operatives mass up and they get lawyers to say it, so then it becomes public. But not all. In fact, I can give you a rundown. For instance, the National Service Authority case, it involves gift to our Mensa, and I don't do this with satisfaction. No, it is necessary. I don't do this to embarrass or humiliate anybody. But it is necessary to so that people stop. Exactly. So gift to our Mensa and OCSB, National Service Authority. Iyoko finished it, gave the docket to the Attorney General. He has done it. He is in court. Indeed, I think last week or so, the court indicated that we're going to do case management. It is part of the process. And lawyer Pia Kubu and Martin Bebu will bear me out. The Sputnik V case, Kwekwaji Mamenu, I have told you. Indeed, as I speak, 2 dockets are ready. And in the coming weeks, the Attorney General will take him to court and charge him for these 2 cases. Again, the Accra Sky Train project, it involves Solomon Asamoah, who was the CEO of GIF, and then Professor Amayo Kunfi. So they are also in court. Now, there's a case involving SML. Even though the Attorney General, the Special Prosecutor is dealing with another case. There's another case that the Attorney General is dealing with, involving Emmanuel Kofi Tonto, Dr. Isaac Kressel, and Mr. Christian Tetesoti. There's a free Wi-Fi case involving Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe, and he himself has publicly said that he has been invited, questioned And the docket has been prepared. There's a gentleman called Opioluwa Omotayo Ojo. I suspect that he's Nigerian. Benjamin Kofi Jesse, William Entry Dakun, and Matilda Iwia Azuma. They are the persons of interest in the free Wi-Fi matter. There's a National Lottery Authority case involving Kofi Osameyaw, Henry Kwame Asare Yentumi, and Derek Bisi Apia. There's Buankra Inland Ports involving Kweku Forie Siama, who was a former transport minister, Justice Amu, John Bernard Quarantine York, and Michael Achagwe Luguje. Pardon me if I've mispronounced the name. Then the DRIP case. It's a matter that people have been called on. The likes of Mohammed Amin Andam, the former finance minister, and Irene Toshi, the former administrator.
They've been called
and questioned. The former administrator of what call it? This Assembly's Common Fund. There could be 19 Frontiers case. Kweku Menu and Samuel Bansa. The Pualugu multipurpose dam. Dr. Owusu Efeyaku, the former Agric minister. Wilson Kwabena Dankwa, I beg your pardon. Al Hassan Alolo Muntaka, I believe he was in the vice president's office. Yes. National ambulance case. Emmanuel Owusu Gwedu.
Okay.
Mathematical set. That's a full expression. Sarah Femi Bedi Etuasanti, I believe is the spouse of the president's the former presidential secretary, Mr. Asante Bedi Etu. Kwejo Daku Mensa, Benjamin Kofi Jesse, Philip Tetepadi, and Matthew Poku Prempe.
Again, this is the mathematical set.
This is a mathematical set issue. The Moshoso rice case, there was an issue about importation of some rice that was not fit for purpose or something. David Eje Mensa, Simon Eje, Elik Lim Dogbe, and Patrick Ohini Ufori. Then there's a duplicative digitalization, which is Ghana Health Service and National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Patrick Kuma Boaji. West Blue Judgment Debt. It involves Kenoforiata, who, as I speak, is a fugitive, has fled the jurisdiction. And then there's a 13th African Games. I could go on and on and on and on. So anybody who comes to tell, for instance, they've been called, interrogated, and these are cases on which dockets have been prepared. And so the attorney general has to look through it and then determine a date that is suitable to go to court. If you go to Yoko, there are some of the cases that were not part of oral. You can only discover them when you come into government, like the National Signals Bureau thing. It was never an oral. In fact, there were many people who didn't even know Mr. Dubois was even a public official. But when we came to power and we got wind of it, we looked into it. Indeed, he was arrested in March 2025. By April, he was in court. The Attorney General has said that he will call 5 witnesses. Three of them are done. He's left with 2. So that they can conclude their case, and then Mr. Dubois will open their case. That is a normal judicial process. My brother, Honorable Apiakubi, is here. He is a lawyer for Wuntumi, and he will testify that in the case of Wuntumi, actually, I think they've done, you are supposed to do a submission of no case or something. If I'm not mistaken. All the state's witnesses have testified. So the state has made its case. The onus is now on them to either contest the state case through a submission of no case, which is normal. In the 214 case, he made a submission of no case. So it is normal judicial procedure. The national service case, sorry, that one too, I told you that they are doing case management. It's part of the buffer store case. There are at least 3 people who are in court over it. Abdul Hanan and his wife, and then I think another what do you call it? So the Attorney General has gone step by step to ensure that this is done. Again, in terms of recovery, when the president said Yoko had recovered 600 million Ghana cedis, there were those who said, we should publish the list. I clarified that apart from oral, Yoko is an established organization that deals with regular crime, money laundering, tax evasion, carjacking, cross-border crime, and all that. So in their normal routine course of work, they've done 642 million Ghana cedis recovery. In 2024, they did 186 million recovery. So this one actually is an improvement on that. But in terms of oral, the only time, again, there are 2 lawyers here who will bear me out. The only time you can recover is when the person has been convicted. What you can do in the interim is that you freeze the assets to protect it, so that in the event that in the course of the trial, they don't divert it and move it outside of the jurisdiction. Indeed,
that is why I asked you that question, whether you have the power to convict. And I'm saying
the court, yes, the court. When the court convicts,
your mandate
is prosecution. That's all. And that is what we are doing.
Yes.
But I'm telling you what steps have been. Every case that has been investigated or is in court, they have taken steps to ring fence the assets. Indeed, there have been instances where some of those whose assets have been frozen have contested They've said that the assets don't belong to them, and therefore the state cannot purport. They are allowed to do so. It's part of the judicial process. Everybody accused must be given sufficient opportunity to defend themselves. In the case of lawyer P. Akubi's client, he would tell you his assets have been frozen.
How much of his assets?
Indeed, I regret to have to. Sorry about it, but
no, the matter is still sub judice. The matter is still sub judice.
Fine.
No, you are allowed to mention those.
You see, so he has. Look, we discovered for instance. No, it's not about.
Please go ahead.
I'm not. Let me also make it clear. I'm not pronouncing.
No, I'm not saying.
I'm not pronouncing on the substantive case. I'm only telling
about
you
the facts.
I'm telling you the action that the state has taken. So, for instance, on the 8th of January, 2025. It was found that about 50 million Ghana cedis had been paid him from Cocoa Board.
Yeah.
Cocoa Board.
Cocoa Board for some work that he said to have done. He moved 30 million of that to purchase some securities. In other words, bonds, right? I think treasury bills. And then about 23 million to purchase or set up an insurance company.
Hey, man.
When was this?
Oh, this was in January, February.
Last year.
Yes. So all these assets have been frozen as I speak. Indeed, again, look, even his mobile money account has been frozen.
Chairman won't
yes.
mobile money account.
Even his mobile money account has been frozen. Unless he sets up another one or use another conduit, he cannot use mobile money, receive or send. So that is the extent to which the state has gone to ring fence these assets, pending the determination of the case. How can anybody see this and say Oral has died? The other issue too is that it is important to do thorough investigations. The reason being that it costs money to prosecute people. There may be cases where you suspect strongly that wrongdoing has occurred, but you may not find the evidence. Yeah. In that case, you don't go at all. You suspect strongly that there must be some wrongdoing, but either the evidence has been so well concealed, or that the information available is sketchy and scanty, so you can't go to court with it. In that case, even if you have that suspicion, you cannot go because it costs money, it costs time to prosecute people. It is state resources that are used to do the prosecution. So if you are not absolutely certain, you cannot go there and waste anybody's time. So it is not fair to say that Oral has not died. And if those who are most affected by Oral, NPP appointees, are saying that it has died, you must understand the political context which they are saying so. So I implore all Ghanaians to support the effort to sanitize the system by holding people who are believed to have offended the state through corruption to account. And then more importantly, putting the system going forward to ensure that this sort of thing does not recur. That for me is where the conversation should be going. But let's talk about 21. So if 21 billion has not recovered, has not been recovered, then all aspects. That is not
because you have an expectation of Oral.
Sure.
And yet you are having to deal with the weaknesses in the judicial system.
You see, again, there are two strands.
You
see, there are two strands. We must be careful. You see, we must be careful not to allow governments to overreach. So that interfere in the judiciary. Look, one of the criticisms that we leveled against the NPP was that they were interfering with the judiciary. And I'm sure Professor Adman Bafo has had occasion as an analyst, a respected analyst, to comment on these matters many times because the media would reach him for comment. We have said that. I personally have gone on public record to criticize judicial performance and accuse the NPP of tinkering with the judiciary for some outcomes. We cannot come to power.
Oh, you've done same.
No. Listen, even the judiciary are not beyond reproach. They are not beyond accountability. So if it is found that the Chief Justice has done things that offend the law and the process is undertaken through constitutional... I beg your pardon. Please. When you sack Charlotte say nobody has you what things. So you cannot come here and purport. You cannot mount the moral high ground. You cannot mount the moral high ground. Charlotte say was a constitutionally... Charlotte say was the head of a constitutional body. They were an independent body. Yet you remove her.
Even the substantive cases are not even of the same standard.
Why does it have to be of the same standard? What are you talking about? What are you also talking about? You have the right.
Transfer somebody.
I beg your pardon. No. I'm saying that.
I travel over 100,000 of our money.
Let me make a point. I'm saying that you, Kofi, and the NPP, you, Kofi, and 100,000 a year cannot be the determinants of what you constitute somebody's removal. You removed Charlotte Osei. We disagreed vehemently. People even went to court, yet you removed her. So if the Chief Justice of Ghana is deemed to have offended the law and the Constitution is followed to remove her, it is in order. That does not mean that you have tinkered with the judiciary. When you remove Charlotte, you did tinker with the Electoral Commission. Is that what you did? So the mere removal of the head does not mean that the judiciary is no longer independent. Indeed, since the new Chief Justice was installed, has the NDC not lost major cases in court? Under you, I beg your pardon. In your time, even the mere announcement of a panel told everybody how the case will go. Look, let me give you a typical example. Let me give you a typical example. You see, by stroke of a pen of the Attorney General writing an application to the court, the panel can be changed. We were told, for instance, there was an instance in this country where a judge held Kennedy Japon in contempt for something that he said. Okay? Kennedy Japon went to complain that the judge is the one against whom he made the statements. And therefore, if he appeared before him, there was likelihood of bias. The judge was changed, was he not? Yet, when the former Supreme Court judge, Honyonuga, if I'm not mistaken, went to make politically motivated statements in the Volta region, and Opuni complained, he was still made to sit on the case until he went on retirement. The judge who came and said that he was going to start the case anew, within a month he was transferred. You understand the point I'm making? So the MPP cannot be lecturing anybody. No problem. But I did that to straighten the record. That their pension, I beg your pardon. No problem. But the point I'm actually defending the judiciary here. I am saying that yes, you are the ones who think that what do you call it? You determine for us what is right, what is wrong. I'm saying that we won't have any of it. The point is this: the judiciary.
It was a personal contribution to the discussion.
So I've made The point I'm making is that we cannot say that because we are unhappy about the way the judiciary operates, we should tinker with it.
I think that
it is an independent institution. That is why when the president had concerns about the slow pace of action on Auditor General's report, what he did was to invite the Chief Justice, the Auditor General, the Attorney General to a meeting to discuss what can be done to hasten the process. Then the Chief Justice said that they can do ABC. Indeed, if I'm not mistaken, he has done that. He has set up a special court to try Galamsey cases and all that. So that is how you do it. But government cannot on its own insist that we don't like the approach of the judiciary, so we have sacked every judge, or we have abolished courts, or we have introduced new courts. That cannot be done. But oral can never be said to have died, simply because those against whom it was set up are saying that it has died. They are not the ones who determine it. Let the facts speak. People are even saying that after 1 year there's no prosecution. When the facts show that is not the case, there is prosecution, and more prosecutions are going to follow. Yes. No, but conviction is determined by the courts.
Yes.
And as Honorable Apiakubi has been at pains to say all morning, our remit ends with prosecution. That is what we have done. It is for the court to determine whether the case we have made can master scrutiny, or that the defenses provided by the accused are sufficient to free them.
There's a question in this regard that if the right of conviction ends with the court, then why were some persons described as candidates for jail?
Why?
By some persons.
Alfred, the first time let me tell you something. Alfred Woyumi, an Auditor General did a report, and then I think it was Kennedy Japon who found that his name had been mentioned in respect of some judgmental payments. The MPP composed songs. Okay, they started for 1.5 years every day. After Woyome was the subject of discussion on TV. They did not compose songs. Why? Would it be the first time that politicians have been accused?
Okay, no.
Would it be the first time in our history that politicians have been accused of corruption and they have been dragged?
No.
Why? President Mahama, did the MPP not claim that he had built hotels in Dubai? He did not call him names in respect of Airbus. What were the outcomes of those matters? So you see, let the MPP not go about saying that people have said that people are candidates. It is not the first time. But you see, you must separate political claims by political operatives from the word of the leader, from the word of those who actually have responsibility to undertake this matter, this activity. It is the Attorney General. What has the Attorney General said? Sometimes when the Attorney General gives briefings, okay? Sometimes when the Attorney General, sometimes when the Attorney General gives briefings, they say that the Attorney General has convicted people.
Okay.
But we know that the Attorney General doesn't convict people.
Right.
You understand the point I'm making? So the claim that oral has died cannot stand scrutiny.
One lawyer whose client is in this matter.
Yes.
I needed you to speak to a number of these issues.
I hear you.
Because, and you had raised concern about it appears the Auditor General or the Attorney General is under pressure to secure convictions. That's why you are having some accused persons being turned into prosecution witnesses. What's your concern with that?
I have been speaking generally about the process of prosecution and where I find discomfort in the performance of the Attorney General's Department in the prosecution of cases. And this is where I have complained about accused persons being turned into witnesses, prosecution witnesses. And I'm not only referring to any particular case. I'm talking about generally if we undertake that direction, the dangers that confront us as a country. You have situations where accused persons even admit that I have committed A, B, C, D offense.
Yes.
The next morning, he becomes a prosecution witness.
Yes.
And becoming a prosecution witness, you would have signed a non-prosecutorial agreement with the Attorney General.
Yes.
They are allowed
Yes.
processes. Yes. But fancy the person who has admitted having committed an offense. Because of his desperation to get out of prosecution, he approaches me, Attorney General, that I want to be your witness. And for that reason, let me sign a non-prosecutorial agreement with you and leave me out of prosecution. Now, I'm going to bring Mr. Kwesi, who was an accomplice with me, who even encouraged me to do ABCD, that is criminal. Then the confessed criminal becomes a witness and therefore not facing criminal charges. Then Kwesi, who may or may not have done anything, is brought in as the accused person proper. And that my evidence is going to go in support of the prosecution against that alleged conspirator. How fair and how judicious are we in leaving the confessed criminal out and bringing in somebody that the confessed criminal is nominating into the political, into the judicial platform? Okay. And I'm saying that if that becomes a tool, chances are that criminals, once they say, I am going to be a prosecution witness, he is out. And if he doesn't like you for anything, say, oh, it was Martin Pebu who encouraged me to do A, B, C, D, which was criminal. Then Apia Kubi, who has confessed to be the criminal, is left out, and an innocent Martin Pebu is rather brought in as an accused person. And then Martin Pebu is prosecuted. And the worst case scenario, he is convicted, sent to jail. Is that a criminal justice system that we want to sustain in the country? Let me end. Well, how about a scenario where 3 of us are charged for an offense? Then Prof will go, I want to be a prosecution witness. He is left off. Martin goes, I want to be the second. He is left off. And the Apia Kubi goes, I want to be also a prosecution witness. So where will be the trial?
Doesn't happen. Like
is it going to also be the case that when Martin and Prof goes, the two of them go and they are admitted as prosecution witness? Andy comes and they say, no, Andy, you cannot be prosecution witness.
How fair? He didn't come early. Hey. If he gets enough, the next person says he doesn't need it. He should have come early.
I'm complaining about such a system. No, wait a minute. So you having been the confessed criminal, because you were first to approach the Attorney General, all your crimes are washed away. No. Okay. You have confessed that I have done ABCD.
Well, you see that the case is
and you see that the case is against you. So you run to the Attorney General. You tell Attorney General, I was the person who did it. Let's say murder. I murdered him, but I murdered him with the encouragement of Andy Apia Kubi. but I want to be a prosecution witness against Ndiaye Kubi. And then he becomes, and then I come back to, in the course of the deliberations, Prof also goes. He's also admitted as a prosecution witness. And I'm the third person to go, having been charged of an abatement of the crime.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the decision to accept the offer of an accused to be prosecution witness is taking on the weight of the information that the person has, is it not? As to whether it's going to add some weight.
Unfortunately not.
Case.
Unfortunately not.
How's that possible?
Unfortunately not, because when somebody comes to say that I have committed the crime, immediately that person cannot, we don't even need any evidence to establish his culpability. Well, because when he admission constitutes the commission,
but in
and therefore that person comes to say that I have committed the crime.
The Attorney General, OSP, say these accused persons approach their office. They don't go
yes. No.
them or
I am even going to speak about that. If it is the case that they themselves voluntarily go to the Attorney General's office to surrender and become considered as witnesses, how about all of us going and saying that, well, we are also submitting ourselves. We also want to be prosecution witnesses. All of us go there. So where will be the trial?
No, you see, if I may, if I may respond, because you see, in fact, there are instances where the Attorney General
you're asking a question.
No, you see, there are instances where the Attorney General himself goes to, so you come to Akofi. This matter, I've mentioned your name. This is what we have against you. But if you can help us unravel the facts around Honorable Appiah Kubi, we'll be willing to either reduce your sentence or let you walk free. So, and I've told you that, you see, sometimes you may have strong basis to believe that wrongdoing has occurred, but the evidence to prosecute may have been well concealed. So you need an insider to help you untie.
So the insider is the person who has admitted the crime.
Yes, if that is the only way. You see, if that is the, you see, and sometimes, for instance, again, let me use, I beg your pardon. So, for instance, Kofi is alleged to, and Kofi, pardon me.
And then you
Kofi is alleged to have stolen this pen. Kofi is alleged to have stolen this pen. It costs 1 cedi. But Martin is alleged in the same criminal circle to have stolen this laptop. It costs 2 million cedis. So the case that if I sacrifice this 10 cedis, I can get the 2 million.
Unfortunately, that is not the case we are facing.
How so?
No. The person who comes to tell you that I stole this phone.
Yes, but he is helping the state.
You see,
the main culprit.
He is the main culprit. He has admitted.
In this case.
And he says that, oh, and the Appiah even told me that you have a phone that I can steal. Then you drop the person who has stolen, who has admitted.
No, you collect the money.
That would be Netflix. I thought that normally they go for the bigger fish.
No. So the scenario you're painting is not the correct one. I am complaining about.
Okay.
And I'm saying that anybody who admits that he is the culprit, and I have an abettor. For better way.
Co-conspirator.
So I say I have an abettor.
Or co-conspirator.
No, even co-conspirator is close. But an abettor.
Okay.
Yes.
Crime. Okay.
I am an abettor. I am prepared to submit myself to you as a prosecution witness. But come to prosecute the abettor, and I'll provide evidence against him. In that case, how fair is the law on the abettor versus the person who committed the crime?
Okay, thank you.
That's a cross-examination will do a lot of
Gentlemen, hold on.
Thank you.
If there's an intervention that he wanted to make.
To the court. We are not in the court. The fact is that on this case, it's not only here. In other jurisdictions, the U.S., prosecutors can look for one of the criminals to turn around to be a witness against. It's done. But see, they have to weigh the evidence you have.
Yes.
Before they make all these decisions. So that's all right. So if it's happening here, if you have a problem with how they make the determination,
no. I'm saying that
they can.
The scenario I'm painting.
But let me get on to the oral thing, because that's I haven't made a word on that. No. Wait.
Anyway,
just a minute. If it's not control you, I'm going to control you. I'm sorry, my friend.
Stay on that point. On the oral.
Yeah.
And
but
that's the responses that we have
heard
so far as to what the direction is and what is being done so far as against the concerns about the pace of it being slow and not being lesser than what was promised. Prof.
There's no doubt, and I listened to my good friend Felix carefully, of course, and all the friends here. Out there in the public, there's a strong perception that the oral is kind of on the quiet. Just to do, I won't use the word dead, but it's on the quiet. That's the strong perception. And people who are championing or supporting you are frustrated. There's no question at all about that. But what I want to say, in addition, you see, at times, the politicians themselves make us feel strongly that, in fact, there is serious corruption in our midst. I have never gone out to point out anyone who is corrupt. It's the politicians who go out there and point to each other that they are corrupt. Now, towards the 2016 election, NPP in opposition then did a great job in tagging, branding the NDC as corrupt. And to a large extent, I think the victory of the NPP, it was one of the reasons for the victory. That is clear. Then in 2024, I think the NDC became clever or cleverer in branding corruption on the opposition. Not that there were no cases, but they were clever in the way they branded, including this oral thing. So with that, they also disposed of the NPP. So clearly, the two parties are all deep in corruption. Now, when they come to power, it's where the problem is. Do they stand by their allegations and do what is needful in terms of getting people prosecuted? That's what the problem is. Because after the 2016 election, there were a lot of talks about prosecuting people. As I sit here, I cannot recall, if you are lawyers, so if you can recall any incident where any NDC person was successfully prosecuted.
Oh, yeah. There were a number. The NCA case, okay, the venture capital case, Lawyer Lassie and Co. Right?
They were convicted.
Yes, done.
That's during the NPP time.
Yes, the NCA case had 5.
Okay.
The former deputy national security coordinator, Alaji Osman Mimina, right? KTV, Bafuboni.
Yes.
So
now the frustration is that
Lawyer Lassie and Co.
Right.
Venture capital.
So currently the frustration is what? Is that you are not fast in prosecuting others?
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yes.
And we all know that the wheel of justice, you guys will tell us, runs slowly.
Yeah.
But I think, to a large extent, there was this exaggerated allegations that you guys made. That's why people are questioning the oral. Because if you come to the order, it's if or no if. The impression was that about $21 billion CDs, dollars may be collected.
Prof, and it's not the oral committee. It was Okujeto in his personal capacity.
He spoke on behalf of the committee.
Oh, no. This is personal. I'm a lawyer. Did you hear me say that? I can never make sense. I can't.
Who said it?
The oral committee. No, it wasn't the oral committee. It's his personal statement.
That you said on the same committee.
Yes, no, but please, it's his personal statement. Oh, I'm a lawyer. Did you hear me say that?
Somebody made allegation that people are transferring money into other jurisdictions. Yes. Martin was on the panel.
Yes, that one I
supported that profusely.
Yes.
So Martin cannot,
that was an individual making an allegation. The government has not said that.
So Martin will have to say sorry for the position I took.
There's a point that Professor Afan makes, which I want a response from. That you tend to label or go on this campaign of corruption
concluding that
to win an election because you just like how please just like he referenced how President John Mahama was accused of corruption by the actual administration, and that Ghanaians bought into, voted them into power, and then when they come in, he walks quickly clean, comes back and win an election again. And you went on this corruption campaign, and clearly Ghanaians believed in this oral, and it appears it's just for the politics of things. There isn't much to do when it comes to executing this campaign of corruption. that's
Now,
the point.
But what I've just recounted to you here, the facts I've given you cannot support such an assertion. You see, there's a political football that we play. I spoke to you about what they said about President Mahama. They said that he owned hotels in Dubai and all of that. In 8 years, he was in this country. In fact, they even called him names in the Airbus matter.
Attitude is not good.
No, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm making a point. If you let me land, please. Even in the Airbus matter, they called him names and said all manner of things about him. He stayed in this country for 8 years. Absolutely nothing was found against him. He even won elections again. Of course, on the NDC side, things have been said. But that is not what oral was. Oral deals with specific cases. It is documented. It has gone through a certain process, and that process is unfolding. I have given you a report on where everything is. Okay. So we must separate regular political jousting, verbal jousting. Yeah, he has done this, he has done that, from a process that is outlined. This process, the NPP too has gone through. After all they said about the NDC, they put a number of people before court, didn't they? So, they secured conviction in some worked.
So going forward,
no
parties.
Is it Honorable Apia could be? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that politician will stop today or will stop tomorrow. It's not even in Ghana alone.
We must
of course, we must try to do better. Exactly. We must try to do better. Agreed. Yes. But there's politics and then there is fact. So when you are analyzing, you must look at the facts. What has happened under oral? Is it fair in the light of what has happened and the briefing I've given you this morning to say that oral is dead and that there's no prosecution? No. Prof, that is separate from the political game that we play. Yes.
That's why I'm not using the word dead. But certainly it's very slow for most people who were expecting. Because the way it was presented, it was as if evidence were all collected, people were ready to be sent to the courts and all that. But we know, that's the impression the public out there got. So anyway, I think what we have to going forward. That's what I'm interested. That's what I'm interested. Okay. Because you do not present somebody as if he's guilty when in fact you haven't even gotten enough evidence to do so. So the issue of reputation that he mentioned, and the two parties have done to each other, which is not proper. So I'm hoping that the two parties can find a better way.
But it's not my prof. You have to accuse somebody. It's saying don't accuse anybody.
But before you accuse somebody, you must have something to show.
So if it's defamatory, that's what we have lost on defamation. So if you think it's defamatory,
lawyers work difficult for governance. Because
Alfred, let me make a last point. I'm sure we are moving to the next topic. Let me make a last point.
I want to show. In fact, I have an exercise to show.
Just a very quick point. At least on this table, we've all agreed the oral doesn't have the powers to recover anything. Right? We've all agreed.
That stage
by
one.
Law.
Stage one.
Yes.
The committee, the preparatory committee.
The committee that was set up by President Mahama called oral has no powers to prosecute, to recover anything. We've all agreed, of course. So it shouldn't have been called Operation Recover All Loot. It should have been called Operation Collect Half-Baked Information. Because that's what it was. Collecting half-baked information. That's what it was.
Collect information.
No, half-baked. Because even Dom Levo himself has admitted that some of the information were garbage. Look, the Attorney General himself.
Yes, but if you say some,
please. Are we going to stop this?
Let me say this. Last one. Even the Attorney General has said that the calculation now that Pebu is throwing Okudzeto under the bus. He said that calculation was off the on the back of the envelope calculation. Do you know what that means? Back of the envelope calculation. It means that somebody scribbles in their own head and put 1 + 1, 1 + 1, and then they put a number. That's what the Okudzeto Ablakwa did.
Quite a number of the cases that were captured. Mr. Kwaakye, it's for good reason that a number of the questions were directed to you, and you've answered, given detail that we didn't even know until today. So it's important that information was put out. But this document is what the oral preparatory team put out.
Yes.
Some of them you've referenced. The banking sector cleanup that you didn't mention. I don't know if there's any work going on in this.
There's work going on. In fact, all 280 cases are the subject of investigations. And you know that it will take some time.
What?
All the 280 cases that the oral committee presented in the report are subjects of investigation. In fact, Yoko alone is selling about 40. They've called in about 100 people to question and interrogate them. In fact, in their case, some of the cases are being prosecuted in court.
Yes.
Okay. Next, this luxurious presidential private jet travels.
But the banking sector cleanup. Can we finish?
No. Yes, I asked.
No, in fact, there are some who says that they don't receive their money and all that. So some work. In fact,
we need to.
The national
that is the cleanup that you have asked somebody to pay 60%.
The national cathedral. The national cathedral. Indeed, I can confirm to you that they are almost done with the forensic audit. Oh. So once it is done, of course, but you have to look at who did what.
But I tell you, said that there was no criminality.
No. Again, misinformation.
What?
Propaganda. Again, propaganda. There was a civil case. A civil case in which someone had sued for something said.
Right.
The attorney general was called to respond to a specific question. The National Cathedral Secretariat itself did an audit in which, and I addressed a press conference to put it out. Harrowing and disturbing instances of financial law violations were raised. So the president said, let us do a forensic audit so that we know that it was myself or Martin Kwebu or Honorable Apiakubi who did what. Yes. Once that comes up, action will be taken against the people. That audit is ongoing. It will be completed soon, just like we've done for the arrears payment that we put out, and further actions are going to take. That's what will happen.
I think.
Yes. So it doesn't end with what the testimony the attorney general gave you.
No. Okay. Yes. Now this. Okay. It's all the same.
Yes. The ambulance case. I told you who, and for emphasis, let me repeat it.
The $108
absolutely
million
the ambulance case.
Scandal.
Yes, the ambulance case. There's a gentleman called Emmanuel Owusu Buedu, who currently has been interviewed, and the docket has been built on him.
I see.
Yes.
Now, because you mentioned the Sputnik V.
Yes, Ajimamenu is being held for it.
COVID.
Ajimamenu is being held for it together with some other people. Yes.
And then
this one. It's the same as the COVID one.
Okay.
Yes.
The Bank of Ghana corporate office.
That one too is under investigation.
Now you say that figure is 400
as I said,
million.
I just learned recently that it's actually $400 million and not $250 million as we are judicially.
Yeah, but are you not interested in the banking sector cleanup?
Oh, yeah, it's also a matter of.
Let's discuss.
Yes, that's where people like Alasan Alolo Muntaka, Dr. Owusu Kwaakye, and Wilson Kwabena Dankwa.
What is this?
Are being held. This is a multi-purpose dam. Yes.
Multi-purpose dam.
Is Palugu abandoned?
But the amount of money you took and the work done were not commensurate.
Which stages? I mean, how does ORA determine?
So we believe that they have we believe that ORA have. It's not what has the Attorney General of Ghana who has the resources to investigate. But I've told you that the Attorney General who has the resources to investigate these matters and commence prosecution is the one doing this. The oral, and they were a preparatory committee. They simply gathered the facts as they knew them and brought it. That is why that report was not sent to court.
No, this one.
The Attorney General, the Attorney General has got the NIB, National Investigations Intelligence Bureau, to conduct investigations, call people, question them, interrogate them, and they have built a docket which contains the evidence that they think forms the basis of prosecution to the Attorney General. The Attorney General is reviewing it and will take it to court. That is how the process works. If the NIB did not believe that there was a bill, they won't send it. In fact, let me also, for emphasis, indicate that there are also 9 cases that have actually been looked into, which dockets are being built upon as I speak to you. And just so that people know, I will go through them. There's a Japan royalties case. There's a Polo Beach Club case. There's a AFCON 2024 budget case.
Excellent.
There's a Australia visa scandal. There's a Ghana Trade Fair land case. I could go on and on and on and on. You understand me? So these ones are being docketed now.
This 85 million stadia renovation, Esipong, Tamale, Accra.
It's still probably one of the cases that Yoko is looking at, yes.
Okay, I see. And then...
Yeah, all African Games.
Yes,
in fact, all African Games, the audit reports, the audit has been completed. The Auditor General has indicated to government that they will publish it in the coming days. Yes, they finished it.
And
beyond that, beyond the audits, there's also a docket on the 13th All African Games involving people like Mahama Yusuf, the former sports minister.
The one with Martin, go back. There's one with Martin.
Yes, I told you about West Blue. The West Blue is a judgment debt, and the person of interest is Honorable Ken Oforiatta, who unfortunately has fled the jurisdiction, so we are unable to deal with it.
Kofi, you said you bring Ofuyata back.
Yes.
Well,
but
was it not the chief of staff who wrote a letter to
no?
Gentlemen, you've
January 2025. It was not the end.
But he's not well.
So you could not have petitioned the chief. He's not well. Oh, he's not well.
He's not well.
I see.
I see. Thank you.
You remember Animana? As for Animana, they put him in a wheelchair and took him to court when he was not well. He had kidney failure. Yeah, they took him to court.
Yeah, if you are an accused person, you must be present in court.
Absolutely.
I see. So you mentioned the Sky Train, the 2 million.
Yes, I've
and then
the visa process scandal is that's the Australia visa scandal.
It hasn't been.
But this one, the special prosecutor.
Alfred, we are not advertising this and not discussing.
So no, I have to go through
the special prosecutor is dealing with this one.
Some of them.
The attorney general cannot do the same thing.
Yes, these are. It's not a subject matter.
And for clarity, the special prosecutor started this matter before we came to power.
Yeah.
So it's not like we saw it, left it, and he picked it. So that must be put on.
Okay, thank you.
Then he gave it up to Yoko.
Gentlemen, no, please.
And then I must also say, Alfred,
quickly,
that the claims about delay. Look,
Alfred,
the first case that the NPP prosecuted successfully under President Akufo-Addo, they secured conviction. I think 3 years after prosecution started, the NCA case. Okay. So the people were, I think the case started in 2018 or so. They were jailed in 2020. Indeed, in the case of Mr. Chikata, the case lasted in court for 5 years, 8 months. The Daniel Abudakwi case, it lasted 4 years, 4 months. Ibrahim Adam and Co. 2 years. That's the quality grain case. So there's a history of delay in court, but it has nothing to do with the government's ability or inability to prosecute.
Thank you very much. Quite a number of your messages, gentlemen. But before I read your messages, let me tell you about this. Whether you are aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing, communication, operations and supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship and innovation, or business intelligence and analytics, or you want to advance through a dual MBA or chartered manager MBA, University of Gold Coast gives you options that match your vision. Now, and if your next step is an MSc International Relations, Communications and International Marketing, International Law, the Honorable Abiakobi, this what I'm telling you is to be good for you. So please listen to security and.
I am convinced that you stole it. So I am taking you to court on Monday for you to be prosecuted. That is what every attorney general does. Indeed, it is a standard practice internationally. Why? Even the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, just before the elections of 2024, did the attorney of the New York State not take him to court? Did he not hold briefings to indicate why he's taking the former president to court? So it's a standard practice. The attorney general, through that, cannot convict you. Indeed, you are free to challenge him. That what he has said is not true. And then when you go to court, you bring counter evidence to show. And in this country, under the MPP, under the NDC, people have walked free after they were able to show that the attorney general didn't have evidence. Honorable Apia Kubu's submission of no case, I believe it will be ruled upon on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. If the judge finds that there is merit in what he has said, won't you will walk a free man? That is how the process has to be. But if the judge finds that indeed he has a case to answer, he will ask him to open his defense, which is standard practice. So the attorney general does not convict anybody. He must keep the people informed. But this response is in response to the claim that we are not speaking enough. When the man speaks, people say that
he has to keep speaking.
And he has to go to
it's there. It's allowed. 18 minutes after 10. And let me tell you a bit more about what we are offering to the many people this morning beyond Gold Coast. Also, last year, we gave you a package that took you to Dubai. This year, we are telling you about a package that will take you to China between April 22nd and the 2nd of May 2026. And that is Ocean Bells Travels and Tours. If you want to be part of this trip to China, where you would have stay in 4-star hotels, 5 different options for you based on the success of the trips to Dubai and other areas with Ocean Bells Travels and Tours. They are offering you an accommodation with daily breakfast, package Chinese tours, private land transfers by coach, escorted tour with English-speaking guide, high-speed train, and many others for this period that we have just mentioned, April 22nd to the 2nd of May. It's between $1,500 for this 7-day period. If you want more on this offering of Ocean Bells Travels and Tours with their many airline partners, call them on this number, 0242 037 280, 0242 037 280. That is for Ocean Bells Travels and Tours. Our next conversation is on the recruitment. This week we got to know that even though about 500,000 applications came through for just about 5,000 slots in the 4 security agencies, the many people who couldn't make it to the next stage, the minority says refund their money to them. Government has a different position. This is what Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, the Minister in charge of Interior, said about this. Take a look.
Can only bring in 2,500 more police officers. 2,500. I mean, other ranks, and then 500 cadets. So when you put that, that's just about 3,000. Meanwhile, we have 130,000 that are opting to join the police. With the Ghana Immigration Service, by the time we closed the portal, to our utmost shock, there were more applicants to the Ghana Immigration Service than even the Ghana Police. The total of over 180,000 young men wanted to join the Ghana Immigration Service. But the interesting thing is that today, the Ghana Immigration Service, the strength from the Comptroller General to the last officer at immigration stands as 18,300, less than 20,000. Yet you have 180,000 opting to join. And unfortunately, because of the space, the fiscal space, we could only have a space for 1,000. We could have space for only 1,000. When you come to Ghana Fire Service, by the time the portal closed, there were 124,000 applicants. 124,000 applicants for Ghana National Fire Service. Meanwhile, the current National Fire Service, from the chief fire officer to the last officer, they are just about 17,000 plus.
This is what Muntaka Mohammed was talking about. Police, immigration, fire service, prisons. 500,000 applications. What that means is that it's not 500,000 applicants. I think that explanation was given. That is actually about 340,000 thereabout. There are people who apply to multiple
the unique
institutions.
Value is 340,000.
348,000, okay. Yes. And for just the 5,000 slots across all 4. And this is what we have clearly given you an idea of what the Ghana Scout Service gave us in terms of the labor force as we have it and the net jobs. And the concern is the age bracket in terms of the 2 million unemployed persons in the country. A lot of them within that active youthful bracket of 15 to 35 years. And a number of them were the ones who were trying to get into this. There was also persons who are in employment but wanted to change jobs. So we had some information to that effect as well. In the Ghana Police Service, 130,000 applications were received for just 3,000 slots. That's about a little over 2 percentage points people who will enter. Immigration, 180,000 applications received, just 1,000 available slots. And then fire service, same situation, 124,000, just a fraction. And then your prisons, 71,500 slots. So really, what could have been done differently than, because you, if I say you, I'm talking about the position that the minority espoused, that the persons who couldn't go beyond this aptitude test should have their monies refunded. Why is that?
Why not? I mean, for me, these are young people who are trying to find a means to survive. The process itself is daunting. I mean, the fact that you are not assured even if you are going to be selected in the end of the process is even more challenging for the young people. And then also, aside from the application fee that you are paying, there are other fees that you incur. For example, if you have to travel, if you have to, in this case, people have to go to internet cafe to do the aptitude test and all of these things. But look, let's really step back and ask ourselves a few questions. I think, putting politics aside, this government needs to really pay attention to recruitment. Just last year, I think around August last year, we had a very unfortunate circumstance where we lost 6 people through a recruitment process. So one would have thought that once we've moved or shifted the entire process to online and means to sort of reduce the human intervention, we will essentially make it even more flexible and smooth for people. First of all, you buy the forms for 220 cedis. You either go to a bank or you pay through a short code. Then you get a voucher. Then with the voucher, you go online to apply. Once you apply, then you submit your supporting documents, etc. Yeah. The algorithm will then look at the data you've input into the system, being it your grading and all the information, your height, whatever you put in, and determine whether you qualify or not. If you qualify, then you do a printout and go to what we call body selection. And then once you qualify the body selection, then you go to the next step of doing the aptitude test. And then once you pass, you go through the medical stage. So it's a very tedious process that every young person has to go through to be able to get employed. Right. Now, we are being told that 506,000 people, not people, applications, because as you've rightfully said, 348,000 unique, but at least 506,000 applications came in. If you multiply that by 220, you are looking at 111 million Ghana cedis. Yeah. That is going to, now at this point, the whole process has been centralized. So you don't even know where the money is going to. Is it going to the Ministry of Interior, or is it going to the various security agencies? That's a question I think we need explanation on. But at least 11 million Ghana cedis to them. Now, the question is, the government is saying that 100,000 of them are now going to move on because they've passed the aptitude test to do medicals. From what I've been told, it's 1,600 cedis for the medicals. Meaning, if the government is to ask all the 100,000 people to do the medicals, we are looking at an additional 160 million of monies the youth have to pay. So you ask yourself, young people are looking for work. Combine 111 million plus 160 million. You are looking at the government taking from the youth 270 million Ghana cedis, roughly $27 million. Is this how we want to create employment for young people in this country? And that is why some people have argued that, could this be a Ponzi scheme? Is it a deliberate ploy to take money from young people for state agencies that are suffering from, getting the right allocations as a means for them to get some money? I mean, these are questions that are lingering. I'm not taking a firm position, but they are worthy questions to be interrogated because it beats imagination. And remember, the young kids, some of them pay from my checks, because I had the privilege to call at least 2 of the people who applied. And sometimes you pay 200 cedis at the internet cafe to get assisted.
I see.
You know, so it's troubling. And for me, I think the government needs to sit up. One, you've created a mess at Airwork, and now you've created another mess. It's not proper. It's not tidy.
Okay.
And I think something needs to be done to correct the mess they continue to create. But last, let me wrap up. I think all of these things come down to availability of jobs. What is the government doing to speed up efforts of creating jobs?
Okay.
You've promised 24-hour economy. What we have now is an agency or an authority. You know, because of time, I'm not able to really delve into the issues. But the question, you promised that you are going to train 1 million young people in coding. How many have you trained? And how many have you transitioned into proper jobs? When you look into their manifesto, I searched for the word jobs, and I got 120. So the word job appeared 120 times in their manifesto.
I see. Now, when this matter of refund came up, there was a question that quite a number, Selassie, who sends a message, reiterates that question about why they asked for a refund, that other institutions use the same process. For instance, applying to a tertiary institution, you don't get admission. So why then do you ask for a refund of said monies for that matter? And it says, while you were in power as well, was the same process. And
look, the argument of us being in power should stop. It's a bogus argument. President Mahama and Felix and the NDC didn't just ask for Ghanaians to vote for them. They asked for Ghanaians to give them the mandate to reset the country. Emphasis on reset. So you cannot promise reset and then come to power and repeat the very ills that you criticized, and then ask us, you did the same. I mean, it
should be refunded. It should be free.
It's preposterous. So I think the government needs to find a better way. We cannot tax the young people that we are supposed to give jobs to. The government, in its all right conscience, cannot make $270 million, $27 million from a recruitment process. It's not acceptable.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to find out. Was it the same situation under MPP? I'm not too sure.
Yes. See, under the MPP, I can clarify. Under the MPP, what I found out was that once you complete the aptitude test,
to pay money for
application. Yeah, they were.
That is wrong also.
They were.
You see, no, that is wrong also.
They were.
Because there's no way I will support a scheme that will charge young people to get into employment. I will not support it. If MPP did it, it was wrong. And in fact, people who are complaining now, they must also condemn that which happened before their complaint will be justified. Because I don't see why young people who have graduated from schools, they want a job and they have to go and find money. We forget that some of the applicants don't have parents who are able to pay. So in that case, are you saying that these people don't qualify for job because their parents cannot afford? I mean, I don't think that it is proper for the applicants to pay anything at all. If we cannot even give them jobs, at least we give them the hope that they can also apply and qualify. And just a few minutes ago, I asked Martin of the name of this brilliant policeman who he's passed, I think, who was IGP Peter Namfuri. If it was this case of using sizes and heights and leg sizes and things, he wouldn't have become a policeman. But this is an excellent policeman who understood policing, discharged his duties responsibly, and finished as an IGP. So when you see people who are of various sizes and use that against them, I don't think that is fair.
Okay.
So it must be given to, I mean, there are people who come into institutions, various sizes, different talents, different capabilities. So your size alone shouldn't determine whether or not you get employment.
So they make exceptions. There's the standard one, but there's exception when you have exceptional abilities in other areas. So it's not,
yes, but why would I be refused employment because I'm short or I'm tall?
Yes, so there's an exception when you have some abilities that they lack.
I think that anybody, when you are short and you have those abilities, if they don't get you, how would they demonstrate the abilities? So it is not a fair, standard to select people into public space.
Thank you.
I think that, and let us all be fair. I mean, it is positions for Ghanaians, and the Ghanaians of all places, all creed, all politics, all education and things. So my take is that let the applicants be considered fairly.
Okay.
And those who have been paying, I support that they shouldn't be made to pay. But I think the standards were set before they started paying. So probably too late now. But going forward, I think applicants should not be made to pay because they want jobs.
Thank you.
Again, those who have been paid already and have not secured selection, please, let's do something for it. I mean, if we can return their monies to them, it will be fair.
Well, we'll get some answers to those questions posed by Kofi and you Honorable Apiakai from Honorable Felix Ofosu. But there was a question that I missed because we have moved on to the next issue.
Let's establish the fact that it is unfair for people to pay.
Right. I wanted to quickly, this came from Dr. Kwame and says, good morning. I want to find out from Felix Ofosu whether there's any investigation going on about the said rot at Cocoa Board and what was inherited and what has been referenced to this whole Cocoa Board crisis that we have been talking about for the...
So that is it. Inti utie Felix Ofosu Kwaakye ochiremu or say ya abani by Omonka say they will recover 21 billion Ghana cedis. Tamano muye campaign Omonka. And let me tell you one thing. Ghana, you wish to see Ghana. I was said that they be too trim. So we are Ghana near politician bow nine so. Say or be pay vote. Eddie. I seek for power. Bisana questions ye. Don't just go and vote, but bisana questions, important questions. Na unyiano, because I think say NDC for by so almost say hey NDC, most mobile NPP for no. How many months and I'm be dealing with their cases? How many years and I'm be spending with? I mean, in their cases, and now you going to create extra judicial process B. I bema omu cases no aye faster. And I don't think that Felix Ofosu Kwaakye kwatena TV3. Obeka say they didn't provide specific date. And for that matter, no Ghanaian can say it's an MPP nintimi nkasi say. Senko omu yebiso omu ye and omu chire ya. And I don't think that Ghana for yenyabri said yenyabri at this moment ye looking for accountability. Because enka by now, I strongly believe enka by now. Enka by now. Enka accountability aye pe any de nyano. Enka yenim de akwakusi. But because of say yembiso mo na yembisa questions, Ghana ni kotoa ba politician ban na so mbisa questions intino. Ne omonya hu eno mo kande omope. Na media kasa de bia me kasa asem say MPP ade mo MPP ko position Ghana for share make complaints about their governance. Na Ghana for so de we ade no mo share so mo kan it tells you say ade kwana wo ye nye enti change your ways. But the kobasa o mo kan mo nsem na wo ye se chinchina atwan media ti ase media yisi o mo kan wo nyesi wo mfia. It has its own implication. It has its own implications. So it is better you listen to whoever brings you into power. Whoever brings you into power. And I think say you are John Mahama Nancy I think that was last year, right? Okujina baby can say they will make sure they will create a fast track court process. Someone says answer no, so that some of the cases will be sharp and fast prosecuted. He said it. I don't know whether Moka is answer now or say some cases they are going to create fast track court. Into kohon mabit zenka wuntu midi kabana wuntu mi wadi bima yehu wadi for yehu. What I say? And kanya fina yebe yese oh or court or beba say adanse for him adanse for ma adanse for ye and all sort of delayance. And kanya bin and kane yehu neni. Enti John Mahama can't say no. He must make sure say he will put it into what practice. And yes, a papa can send kicking away and no. Problem I have with politicians, they will say the thing tomorrow or today. Tomorrow they will do different thing. And when you ask them, they will have a tangible reasons, a millions of reasons why they haven't done that. That is why Ghana, your politicians, young koyenim, because of more can semna we see be so mono. Say ye then one they have so many reasons to answer you. And I think say I'm taking serious in said the Felix Ofosu Kwaakye a better see now church and say mono. If it is well planned like that, and they are making arrangement to go by that, I think at the end of the day, Ghana for making and not near show. But I'm Kobanisa, we are not going to keep quiet. We will talk until the right thing is done. You know for sure. Yebekasa until the right thing is being done. Enti abusunye tirawadwe comment section ni. Mamu hu de so odwen. Akopon kan ho na oyishira. Edian mega makraw. Peace out. Bye bye.